I am so glad that I have made it this far and will continue on for the rest of the remainder of my time. I think in video numbers 16, I start losing count. So I think my last video I put up, it said 17. I did change it on YouTube, but I think on Facebook it still says 17. Actually, that was day 16 that you saw, and the day before that was day 15. So that makes today day number 20. So today is my 20th day of juice fasting. I have had a lot of people to ask me about the juice fasting and wanting to know how to do it. And I will be starting a special group just for those people that want to learn how to juice fast, and not only juice fast but get closer to God. That's the main objective. Of course, losing the weight is a added benefit. You know, the skin clearing up is an added benefit. And your energy is a added benefit. But the main thing, and the thing that is going to be long lasting, will be the relationship that you would have with the Lord. So that is the main focus. So if you're just wanting to juice fast and that's it, and you don't really want the rest of it, then this group might not be for you. I'll let you know more about this group probably in my next video, but I just wanted to let you know what was coming down the pike. Okay, what we're going to talk about today is absent-mindedness. Now, I'm going to give you two definitions. And these do not have anything to do with the scripture that I'm going to read, but you'll understand it better by and by. Okay? So the first one is absent-minded. And the first definition I found is lost in thought or unaware of one's surroundings or actions. Preoccupied is another word for it. Also, indicative of or resulting from preoccupation or absence of mind. Also, forgetfulness, fog, or oblivious. Okay, and then my next definition that I want you guys to understand, because I'll be using this term quite a bit in just a minute, but I want you to understand why I'm using it. Okay, the next term is pipeline. And pipeline is a directed channel by which information is privately transmitted. It is also a system through which something is conducted, especially as a means of supply. So listen to those definitions really good. And the last one is a direct channel by which information is transmitted. Okay? And our scripture is going to come from Romans 12:2. And it says, and I'm reading this from the New Living Translation, so it may not sound the same as the New King James Version, but I wanted to break this down so that it'll be very, very plain. And Romans 12:2 says, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good, pleasing, and perfect. So I can tell you now that reading the Word of God, if you don't read the Word of God, you will not be able to know God's perfect will for your life. It's just that cut and dry. You will not be able to know His perfect will for you. So you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. Just think of how your eating habits have really gotten out of control. You know, and you may not even have a weight problem, but if you take a look at the things that you eat and the times that you eat and the reasons why you eat, you will see that there are a lot of things that need to be changed if you really take a look at it. I know a lot of people are trying to change a lot of things, you know, for the new year and things like that, but this needs to be a lifestyle. A lifestyle change is what needs to happen. And so I was thinking about this issue and what led me to this. Now, I'm going to tell you what led me to this. I didn't want to tell you because you know how we are. Sometimes we just don't want to say it. even though it may be beneficial to somebody else, or even though we may get some freedom from, we just don't want to tell it. And so, but I'm going to tell it, because you know what? My freedom comes through my transparency, because I've been a very closed person for many, many years. And people who know me know that that's the way I am. So, but I'm going to tell you what happened. I was in the store the other day in the Sears, and they were doing a food demo. Not a food demo, but they were chopping vegetables with this new little product that's getting ready to come out. And so they were giving away free little gadgets if you stood there and watched the presentation. So I wanted the free little gadgets. So I stood there and I watched them cut up onions. First they made some coleslaw, of course without the mayonnaise and stuff like that. They were just showing how the gadget worked. Okay, so they made coleslaw, and the machine was just chopping everything up, and everything was so beautiful and pretty and colorful and everything. And then they started making, he said, okay, well, I'm gonna get ready to make some salsa. And so he started chopping up the cilantro, he chopped up the tomatoes, all the stuff in one little machine about that big. And if I had thought about it, I would have brought it so that you can see why was I standing there. So he started chopping up all the stuff to go into the salsa. And once he got done, he said, y'all smell this. And everybody smelled it. I smelled it. You know, my daughter smelled it. And so he said, and you know, salsa won't be any good without chips. And so, you know, those little round, little chip bowls, the little, you know, the little dippy chip things. Anyway, some little round chips to go with the salsa. And he put them out on the table in a bowl, you know, in the little demonstration station. And he let us sit there. And then he said, okay, well, I'm going to make some, show you how to chop up something else. I don't remember what it was. And so then he told the lady, we were all standing around like in a circle, sort of like that, around his little chopping station. And he started passing the salsa. So he said, okay, take a chip and some salsa and pass it down. And so I was on the far end. And so the chip and salsa, first the chips went around, and my daughter passed it to me. And I took a chip. I took a chip. Okay. And then the salsa came around, and I dipped my chip in the salsa. And he said, now this is going to be a little bit hot now, because, you know, these jalapeno peppers that I put in here, it's going to be a little bit hot. And he said, now taste this. And can you believe I put it in my mouth? I put it in my mouth. And when I realized what I had done, I went like, and they said, oh, it's hot, right? Yeah, it's hot, right? And I was thinking, oh my God. And I looked at my daughter. My daughter just started busting out laughing, because she said, but I didn't think you was going to taste. I said, why did you pass me the chip? Why did you pass it to me? And she said, I thought you were going to pass it back. I said, I wasn't thinking. Oh my God. And I just kept saying, oh my. And I looked for a trash can. I couldn't find a trash can. So I ate a chip with salsa on it. I did that. Wasn't even aware. Just like the other day when I was telling you about the Cheetos. I was in a daze or something, because I was standing in front of the Cheetos and didn't even remember going over there to stand in front of the Cheetos. So when I did that a couple days ago with the salsa and the chip, I realized, hey, this issue is a lot deeper than you think. If you are eating and you don't even realize you're eating, there is a problem. And so this led me to the talk that I'm giving you today about, and I was driving on my way home and I just couldn't believe it. And I was telling my daughter, why did you pass it to me? I just kept asking her, why did you pass it to? She said, she was just laughing. It's not funny. Why did you pass it to me? She said, I didn't know you was going to take it. Anyway, I'm over it now. I'm over it. I continued my juicing. I started praying against, all of the condemnation and all the stuff. So the last couple of days have been a trip. But anyway, what I want to talk to you about is the pipeline that runs through our system. And you may say, the pipeline. Yes, the Lord gave me 2 words. He gave me absent-mindedness. And that's what led me to research. What is absent-mindedness? I couldn't hardly find anything but some bands, a band or something that's called Absent-Minded or something like that. And then a couple other things that didn't have anything to do with what I needed to get some answers. What happened? Why did that happen? And so I found out what it was. It's absent-mindedness. You don't even realize that you're eating. And that's what caused the weight problem, is not even realizing that how much you're actually putting into your system. Not only how much you're putting into your system, but when you're putting it into your system. Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you know. When you go to the refrigerator, you want to get whatever it is you want to get, but you don't realize how much of it that you're actually eating or taking in. And I'm sure other people can agree to this. I did find, when I was looking up absent-mindedness, I found a doctor that wrote a book called Mindless Eating. And I have a little bit of information on that because I wanted to share that with you too. Mindless eating, they did some studies on this. And they said that when you are distracted with TV, you actually eat 40% more than if you were not watching TV. Something else one of his studies found out is people dining on chicken wings ate more if they took the bones off the plate and threw those bones away. If they left those bones on the plate, they seem to stop quicker because they realize there's a tangible evidence of how much they actually are eating. So if the bones are on the plate, you don't eat as much. I thought that was very interesting. So what I wanted to say about this is reading the Word of God and letting Him clean those pipes out. That pipe system that runs down into the fabric of your being. That the system that makes you up. This could be some long-term generational stuff. Eating when you were a child, and that stuff just gets ingrained in there for years and years and years of overeating, years and years of cleaning your plate, making sure that all your food is gone, making sure that you always had enough food because when you were younger, you may have not had all the food that you wanted. And so you think to yourself, well, you know what? When I get grown, I'm going to have all this food to eat. I'm never going to be hungry. My children are never going to be hungry. But you know what? These things get ingrained in you. And then when you get to a certain age, you begin to realize what an impact it has made on you as a person. So I wanted to talk about that pipeline that goes through your system. And something else I thought about that pipeline is, if you don't read the Word, if you don't let the Word clean you out and continuously feed good information through that piping system, you're going to get clogs in that pipe. You're going to get sludge in that pipe. You're going to get gunk in there, all this kind of stuff in there. And the little bit of good information that does get down in there, it doesn't stay. Because if there's a clog in your pipe, if there's a blockage some kind of way in your pipe, the information that goes in there will not be able to get past those blocks. And so you'll get short-term information, short-term solutions to your weight loss, or short-term solutions to your overeating, whatever the case is. The information that goes into those pipes needs to be clean information. It needs to be pure information. The information that is in those pipes have been there for years and years and years. And sometimes it takes quite a long time to start really plunging that stuff out of there, getting that stuff out of there. And so I found that out. When I ate that chip, I found out, hey, this thing runs deep. It runs deep. And sometimes if you if you just do your fast and you do these diets and all this weight loss stuff, and you don't clean the information that goes to the pipes, it is just going to be very short-term results, short-term. And if you're anything like me, I want a solution to my problem. And I'm sure a lot of other people are out there like that. You want a solution to the problem. You don't want a short-term fix. I don't want a Band-Aid for anything. And I'd like to get to the bottom. What is the problem here so we can fix the problem, and then we won't have to worry about or go over this again. And I'm the same way on my job. When they bring me a problem and they want to put a Band-Aid on it, I said, no, hey, what is the problem? We need to get down to the source of the thing. So this is what we're doing with these fasting series, is we're going to get down to the source of some of this stuff that is down on the inside of each and every one of us. And it's not just me. I know I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people that are dealing with these issues. And sometimes it may not show in your weight. You know, it can show in your everyday life, and you may not even know that this is one of your problems until you start digging, until you start getting that stuff out of there. You won't even know. So I was thinking about, if you correct your actions on the surface, of course, not letting the Lord go in there and dig that stuff out, you're going to get very temporary results. And that's with anything you do. You're going to get a temporary solution to those results. So we want to let the Word of God purify us. Go in there and dig the stuff out. Dig it out. Remove it. Pull everything out of there. We don't want to be conformed to the world. We want to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. Being transformed, that means letting Him go in there and get out the junk. Get out and put new information into that pipeline so that the whole system can work right and can flow the way that it should. I was also thinking about how, just say you have a problem with fasting. You just can't seem to fast. You know, either you get sick, you start getting a headache, or you start getting all these different symptoms. These are just symptoms, and they will only last for a very short while. You know, this does not compare to what God is doing on the inside of you when you learn to fast and submit your vessel to Him. You know, we want to submit the vessel to God, so that people will be changed by the things that we say. We don't want to just have these surface results. People may be changed for a couple of days, and then they go back to their old ways. We want lasting results and a permanent change. How about that? Lasting results and a permanent change.